Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to DCS, and welcome to the UH-60L Blackhawk mod for DCS. This is a free mod, currently still work in progress, a lot to be finished implementation-wise according to the developer, but I think that it is in a state complete enough to show to you guys and let you all decide whether or not it's a module that you would like to add to your arsenal. Very nice texture modeling on the aircraft. Let's go ahead, hop inside, take a look at some of the other textures on the aircraft, the available ornament, what's planned for the future, and of course, last but not least, we'll get it in the air, do a few touch and goes around the Mariana Islands. That's all to come, and let's hop into the startup. Alright, and before we get our startup fully underway here, I want to take a second just to appreciate some of the really nice textures on this aircraft. If I come around here to the engine on our left-hand side, look at the amount of detail that is in that cowling. Look at the nice texturing on the doors, on the empennage of the aircraft. A lot of work, you can tell, went into this module overall, and I wouldn't be surprised if long-term, once everything is implemented, that the devs on this module plan on implementing, if we don't see this added to the ED official library, much like we saw with the MB339. But just so much detail went into this. And again, this is still a work in progress module, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and hop into our cockpit, take a look around our cockpit, and see some of the detail in there as we do our startup. Alright, and here we are inside the UH-60M cockpit, the UH-60L, the M model, as in place of all of our steam gauges you have, I think it's 4, it might be 5, could even be 6. I know there's a PFD and an MFD for the pilot and co-pilot. I don't remember what's in the center. I think there might actually still be some of these older gauges in the center, but nonetheless, the L variant is still a very capable aircraft, and I think it's one you should check out. So, the startup procedure is actually not nearly as bad as you would expect. You just keep the basics of starting any turbine aircraft in mind, and it's pretty straightforward. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on our battery, which is the panel up here, and you can hear all of our avionics have now whirred to life. Not all of them, but vast majority of them. You can hear our gyros and that sort of stuff spinning. Next I'm going to come down to our fuel panel, and I'm going to turn on our fuel boost controls, pumps number 1 and 2, back up to the top panel, and then I'm going to go to our fuel pump switch, and I want to prime our system, and then I want to set the pumps to APU boost, because that's what we're going to be doing next, is starting the APU. That is this switch right here. You can see the APU outlet. No fancy fire like the Apache, but that's okay. And then these are our generator switches, so we're going to go APU gen on, and engines 1 and 2. This final switch is the external power. We're going to leave that as is for now. Now, hopping back outside, you might have noticed I've ditched our side-mounted engine pods, and we've installed some seating as well. There is a pretty good arsenal of equipment available, well, an adequate amount of equipment available for the current Blackhawk. So you can see right now for our outboard stations, we only can fit fuel tanks. I believe there's talks later on about adding rocket pods and gun pods, because the real UH-60 does carry those. For our center cargo position, we have a single rear row seat, or we've elected the 3-row seats, and then you have gunner's seats left and right. I would imagine those might have the option later for like a M1, what is it, M16A4? A minigun. I can't remember the designation for it. I apologize. Very good selection of libraries for this aircraft right out of the gate. I'll just quickly scroll through some of them just to show you guys the different variations. is more of a SH60 type library. So a lot of different options, and again, we did skip over a couple of them. But nonetheless, the doors are modeled, both the cockpit doors, the rear doors, as well as the gunner doors. All of those can be toggled open and closed as you would like. Alright, back in the cockpit. We're going to go ahead and commence on our startup. So I want to set our flight control, augmentation, our SAS 1 and 2 trim, I don't know what FPS stands for, and our boost. And then if we wanted to do radio calls, we would go ahead and turn on our radio. We're going to be not doing radio calls today. The UH-60 has two different anti-collision light modes. There is day and night. So right now we're set to the night mode with the red lights blinking top and bottom of the aircraft. And another push of that switch will go to day. There's daytime. And on the actual aircraft, it's actually just a strobe light, a blinking strobe. But they did their best here. You know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm sure that's one of the things they'll work on fixing later on. Nav lights are a similar story. There's bright, dim, and off, which the bright is actually exceptionally bright. Working here. Hold on for a second. So you've got bright there. A little bit of work needs to be done on the port hand side. It looks like it's just a little bit off cant in the tail position. And then there's dim. This aircraft also has working landing lights as well as a taxi light. Both of them can be assigned to buttons on your HOTAS. There's your landing light. And the taxi light's currently stowed, but it can be moved around just the same as the landing light. Anyway, back in the cockpit, let's get on with the startup. We've got our fuel already set. We're going to come up to our overhead controls here, and I'm going to move both of these into the cross-feed positions. And then our engine start switches are these guys here, engines 1 and 2. We're going to go ahead and start engine 1 first. So we'll click our starter, and then I'm going to go down to our engine page, our engine instruments. Oh, wait, I need to set my bleed air to the APU. You need bleed air to start a turbine engine, folks. Bleed air. Now we're going to click engine 1. You can see I've got an engine 1 starter indication on my ICAS. If I come over here, you can see my TGT. As I introduce fuel, that'll rise. You can see I've got some rotation on my NG, my gas producer turbine, and then obviously I've got main rotor rotation. There's a little C-130 up there. There he is. Oh. Okay, well, I saw him. So good rotation established, good oil pressure. Let's go ahead and introduce fuel. And we'll make sure everything comes alive. Very nice. Engine indications in the center, and then you have your rotor indications to either side. Both the pilot and the co-pilot have their own indications for those. Alright, engine 1 starter is off. That means we've got a good startup on engine 1, and we're going to do the same thing for engine 2. We'll go ahead and hit that start switch. Wait for our NG steady out. Here's 270. We'll go ahead and introduce fuel to engine 2. And engine 2 spooling up very nice. Wait for that starter indication to extinguish. Once that's done, just went out, we're going to go ahead and move these throttles, or the condition levers, whatever you want to call them, into the flight condition. As we do that, we're going to watch our rotor RPM and our engine indications, and we're also going to watch for those two generator lights left and right to extinguish. And there we go. And that is the engine start complete on the UH-60. A couple more things we need to do is we're going to turn our air source to engine, turn off our fuel boost, and then I'm going to shut off the APU. We do have an option for an HMD on this aircraft. I'm not going to be using it today, but it is there should you like to use it. Fully adjustable, just like on the Apache, you've got brightness, that sort of thing. So, and dim it down, brighten it up. But again, we're not going to be using that today. And then we're set to fly. So the UH-60, let me get adjusted here. The UH-60 is, in my opinion, significantly easier to fly than the Apache. That's not to say the Apache is difficult. This is just easy, and I think part of it is just the profiles. The UH-60 is designed to be a utility helicopter. It's, you know, medium load lift, troop transport, gunship, that sort of thing, whereas the Apache is strictly an agile gunship. So, with our startup complete, let's go ahead and turn on our take off our taxi and landing lights. And then I'm going to apply just a little bit of upward collective, and that should get us rolling here. It does. Go ahead and unlock our tail wheel. Got no stick input in at all right now, just barely riding that collective to get that forward motion. We'll go idle on the collective. And taking off is very easy. I'm actually going to do it from the outside, which is not normally recommended in a helicopter, but it's easy enough in the UH-60 where I'm confident I can do it. Famous last words. So, I'm going to go ahead and gently pull aft on my cyclic, and I'm going to add some collective. Just like that, we're in the air. Extremely easy aircraft to maneuver. Very forgiving also. I know one of the, I shouldn't even say issues, but one of the learning curves, we'll call it, with the Apache for many pilots, including myself, is arresting your rate of descent when doing aggressive maneuvering. The Apache, you'll very quickly either slow your rotor to a critical point, or you'll end up overstressing the engine, both of which are bad. Whereas in the UH-60, you can get into some really aggressive stuff here, and it just totally forgives you. Allow me to demonstrate. Alright, so let's see here. What do we have going on the Mariana Islands? So let's shoot for a 180 landing on this oil-slicked pad here. So we're going to pull an aggressive 180 really low to the ground. A lot of airspeed under us, a little bit of altitude. Here's our 180. And in an Apache, that'd be a death sentence, but I've got enough collective in reserve and enough engine power to save us. It's also worth noting, like I say in all of my helicopter videos, I am not in any way, shape, or form a very good rotor pilot. Amateur at best, if I were to grade myself. But nonetheless, we were able to do a fast turnaround and get back to this oil-slicked landing pad here. Oh. Pretty good winds today. Alright, back in the Black Hawk, we've gone for a nighttime or a twilight sunset-y, ignore that artifacting, a nighttime twilight sunset to let you guys take a look at the instrumentation at night as well as the externals at night. More keen-eyed of you might have noticed that now that we have the pylons attached, the navigation lights move from those inboard stations to the outboard ones. Now, I'm not sure how realistic that really is. I assumed that it would just have both of them illuminated, but I could be wrong. It's looking like a good little LZ out there. Let's do an orbit around this resort. Nice bright green formation lights. Hey, we're dead. No, we're not. Saved. Look at that. We're coming up on some nice big field here. I can't tell you what field it is, but that's going to be our final LZ of the day. Sun's starting to go down. Lots of little TV towers in the distance. God, DCS looks really good during twilight times, doesn't it? I think this is where DCS inflates them. Don't get me wrong, they're completely different games for completely different audiences, but DCS really excels, in my opinion, during the twilight hours. Not even necessarily the golden hours. I think Flight Sim even has the edge there, but twilight hours, I don't know, there's something about how DCS renders this all that looks very good to me. Alright, landing light, searchlights. This looks like a civilian airport. I think I see is like what looks to be a terminal building there. Big blue motel. Yeah, let's find us somewhere to set down and shut down. This right here doesn't look too bad. Is this apron? Yeah, we'll just go on the other side of here. Twin runways. Wow, that looks pretty, doesn't it? There's that ship we couldn't land on before. Yeah, let's dump this altitude. Already dumped most of our airspeed. Such a forgiving aircraft. So forgiving. You can make mistake after mistake after mistake, and it'll just go, oh, no, that's alright, bud. Maybe, you know, maybe next time you'll get her done. Oh, there's a Herc. There's two Hercs. At least it's a military base we're coming back to. Alright. The gentlest landing, but a landing nonetheless. And taxi in. I thought I had my searchlight out to the right. Oh, I did. Sort of. Oh. Where's that other Herc? I can't see his wing. Whatever, we're just gonna pull up here. Call it a day. Alright. So that, and the darkest of darks, is the UH-60L Black Hawk module. Available for free. Guys, give the mod a check out if this seems interesting to you all. But that's going to do it for me in this video. I've got a good amount of learning yet to do with flying rotorcraft. As do some of you, I would imagine. Well, some of you, I'm sure, are experts, but nonetheless, not I. So, while we wait for me to get better skill-wise, I will keep practicing. I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next video, and as always, take it easy.